Right, you lot. Now we're at the exciting stage. The stage now where you're going to have to go out somewhere. If you live somewhere where you can just go out the front or in your garden, happy days. If not, you're going to have to pick somewhere. Now, I went to a few car parks this morning that I picked because they're nice car parks, for example, but they're all full up with vans and other bits and bobs because all the local companies and businesses have park all their vans in there. So there's nowhere for me to park. So I've just come and picked this nice little car park here after driving around for a little bit. Now I want to show you a little bit of an example of what to do. If it's a bit nippy outside, you can always put your car in the footwell of your actual car and put the heating on full and put the switch thing on feet, yeah, and it'll warm your engine up. It's not cold enough for me to need to do it, but I've done it anyway. There it is, car in the footwell, put the heating on feet, that will then blow in there and it will warm your engine up to a point where it's more than ambient room temperature, and it'll be easier for you to try and start it up. A little bit of advice there for you if you're struggling trying to get it to start. And of course the idea of that is by the time you've got to wherever you're going, it'll be nice and warm. If you're only going down the road, it's not really so good, but still, it's better than nothing. Right, so got our little car. There's our car. What we need to do, take your shell off, obviously. Some of these things are common sense, but I'll go over them anyway because it's often the case with things that I think are common sense. Other people don't seem to, and they get stuck at that point. So I've already filled it up. I filled it up last night with Nitro. Got a tank of fuel in there. Filled it up last night because I was ready to go here. So we've got to turn on our transmitter. Always transmitter first. Bit of a good habit to get into. Transmitter first. It's not so important these days with the 2.4 gigahertz, but still a good habit to get into. Transmitter, yeah, we're working. Throttle, brakes, right, we're all working. Everything is fine, I haven't got any issues there at all. Got a loose bolt, let me just tighten that up and then we'll come back. Right, you'll have to excuse that loose bolt, that's a bad thing on my part. Right, so, we're now ready to rock and roll. So I need to get our heat gun out. If you've bought yourself an engine heater, one of these, use it. But I didn't charge up my battery this morning, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use my heat gun. But as I say, if you bought an engine heater, use the engine heater. And if you're in a hot country where it's more than 25 degrees, more than 20 degrees outside, you ain't got to bother using a heater. You can just skip this part and you can just go and start it up. Because this will even start now for me, but I'm trying to make it easy for you lot. So heat your engine, it'll be easier to start. Now, once we've got it nice and warm, we can pull that little bit of pipe off of there, blow down it and prime our engine up. Oh dear me, I've got a little bit of a split in my pipe, so I'll pull that off. Put it back on there again. Oh dear me, hopefully you won't have any splits in any of your pipes. If you do, dearie me. Right, there we go, you'll hear it go in, it go like that, and you'll also see it go through the pipes. Happy days. Now you get your glow starter, put that in the top there like that, happy days. You can see my leg is not in the way. It's probably always been in the way. Anyway, here we go. And we should hopefully have fireage. Oh dear, probably flooded it now. Good example. A good example happened on the other one. What episode was it? A good example happened on another episode. I think it was episode 3. A good example happened of a glow plug that went, decided it was going to die. And now it seems a good example's happened on this episode. I flooded it. So if you do what I've just done and you flood it, take the glow plug out like that and pull the pull start. You see all the excess nitro comes squirting out the top. Yeah, there's loads of it. if you've got most of that out. You can test the glow plug if you want to by putting it in the glow starter. I showed you how to do that in episode 3, so I'm not going to show you how to do it again. Put the glow starter in now. And we're running. Now what we're going to do, now that it's running, we're going to go up and down, because don't forget you've got to run your engine in now, if you've got a new one. If you bought a second-hand one, which is already ran in, I still recommend that you do this anyway, because it's good practice for you, driving. But if I'm treating it as if you bought a brand new car with a brand new engine. So what you've got to do first, if you bought a brand new car with a brand new engine, you need to leave it sitting on the ground or on a block so the wheels are off the ground, like this. I'll show you in a minute, for 2 or 3 tanks of nitro. Yeah, it will just use up the tanks by itself. You ain't got to do anything. The only thing you need to do now and again is give it a little bit of a rev to clear out any excess oil building up in the bottom end of the block. Like this. Just leave it there like that. Just ticking over like that. Yeah? You see the unburnt nitro coming out of there? And just leave it there for 3 tanks. As I said, if you haven't got a brand new car, you bought yourself a second-hand one, you can skip this bit. You ain't got to let it tick over. You ain't got to do nothing. You can move on to the driving part of this video, which we're going to do now. So, there's the car sitting over there, right? Now what you've done, if you've got a brand new car, you've done your ticking over tanks. You've done 3 tanks, ticking over on the ground, right? They're done. If you bought a second-hand one, you've skipped that. Now we're going to do the driving bit. You want to go in a big circle. You can do a figure of 8 if you want. You want to go up and down using no more than roughly sort of a quarter throttle. It's good practice for you if you're new to RC, and it's what you've got to do for a brand new engine. You go up and you go down. Right, and then you turn and you go up, and then you turn and you go down. No more than about a quarter on the throttle. Now you do this if you've got a brand new car with a brand new engine. You do that at quarter throttle for a tank. You can do 2 tanks if you want to. And then what you do after that is you do another one, fill it up again, and you do another circle thing using up to half throttle. So you go whip. No, this is a half throttle run. I lied, it's not half throttle run because it conked out. Alright, we're back up and running again now. Obviously it's rich because we're doing in a running in process, aren't we? So it's going to be rich, it's going to conk out now and again. So that's your half throttle run. So that's the half throttle runs. Once you've done a tank or 2 tanks on half throttle only, you can then go to a tank and 2 tanks using full throttle for a little blip. Full throttle, man. Full throttle, love it. My car's not very healthy for some reason. Right, so now what you've done is Mine's just run out of nitro. What you've done is, you've done one or two tanks, up to you whatever you want to do. Some people say it must be 2, it must be 3. Don't let it complicate you, don't let it confuse you. As long as you do at least 1 tank going around in a big circle on a quarter throttle only, you'll be fine. Do another tank or 2 tanks or 3 tanks. You can even do 6 or 7 tanks doing the same thing if you really want to. If you really want to play, I don't know, call it safe. I wouldn't say safe, I would say over the top. But still, quarter throttle, half throttle, and then a run with a tank or 2 or 3 or 4 on full throttle each time. Bleep, 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 up and down. That's it, man. That's pretty much it. That's running in your nitro car. And if you've, as I say, if you've bought a second-hand car, which has already ran in, doing that is good practice for you. Because I'm taking the assumption that you've either not driven an RC car before, or you've not driven a nitro RC car before. Obviously, if you have, then this whole video is not for you. You need to move on to another one. So that's what you need to do. In the next video, we'll go on to tuning, because once you've run in your RC car, your nitro engine, you're probably going to want to tune it. You haven't got to tune it. You can run it on those settings that it come with at the factory, no problem at all. They'll be absolutely fine for my basic use most of the time. It'll run fine and it'll be absolutely fine. It'll have enough power. But if you want to go a little bit further and you want to get as much power out of your little engine as you can, and you just want it to run a bit better than it already does, you do a little bit of tuning, and that's using the 2 screws on the carburetor, sometimes 3 screws. We'll go through that in the next video, because that's quite an interesting video to do. So thanks for watching. I hope that helped you somewhat, just by seeing what you have to do. There's not really a lot I can explain. There's not really a lot I can say, because it's quite a simple thing. But hopefully by seeing me do that, you've got an idea. And now you got a little bit of a clue what to do. So I'll see you in episode 5, which will be tuning your new nitro engine. Cheerio, you lot. Treat people nice. Treat people how you'd like to be treated. And if you've got any questions about things you think I haven't covered, or things that have confused you in this video, put them in the comments, and me and other people will do our best to help you out. Cheerio.